Okay, great, and let's get into this. The fourth wave of energy, incoming July 10th, 2020. An energy intensity window of 9 days from July 6th, 2020 to July 14th, 2020. And this is day 3, Wednesday, July 8th, 2020. We're going to go through these a little bit quicker than previous 2 days because of other information we need to get to. So we can see now that the energy window, the timeline for Wednesday is kind of a different colour. It's more of a plasma colour now. So we have our 12 watch areas: space weather, jet stream, ring of fire, earthquakes, volcanoes, sea life, economies, Middle East, United Nations, and Krakatoa, Cascadia zone, and sunspot cycle. So we see that the sunspot that popped up yesterday has now disappeared, and the Neo-Wise comet now interacted with the noctilucent clouds. We see that on the jet stream across the US that the NGS kind of like moved off. The jet stream across Europe has also drifted up as well. We know about the ring of fire. Some smaller earthquakes today, but there's other stuff we need to get to in this day 3 presentation. Volcanoes kind of a little bit like still like yesterday, 1 or 2 going a little bit unactive or more active. Sea life, nothing really much today. Economies, a lot of things going on with Iran and the oil export import there. The Middle East, again, a lot of focus falling on Iran's oil and the impact it's having on economies and so on, with oil spiking up as well. United Nations, the President of the United States has now formally put forward that the US will not fund the WHO and so on. There's a lot of disinformation going around across various outlets on Tuesday that the President of the United States was funding Gavi. All clickbait, false rubbish. And that Krakatoa did erupt. Funny enough, we talked about it on Monday, erupted Tuesday. Cascadia subduction zone is one of the areas we're watching for, and again, for some reason they ran the article again with that person and the little bobble thing. So the sunspot cycle, we'll take a quick look at the Schumann Resonance. We do see on the 8th, as expected, as we talked about in yesterday's video, that there would be a continuous spike, and we see that. Let's take a look here. We can still see the outer bands being disrupted by energy. Oh, yeah, there's definitely a change there with the flux. Let's see if the lines are back. The IMF lines. Wow, they're actually worse than yesterday. Good lord, good lord, man. Wow, we have to look at this live. Hang on. Yeah, so here it is live. 7-8 going to 7-9. Wow, that is just. That's just amazing. Look at the energy that's pounding. Look at the lines. I thought the lines were crazy yesterday. Look at all the lines. Completely all over the shop. Look at. Wow. A lot of energy. That's a lot of energy. So that's the sunspot cycle. And for the second day, we put in the magnetopause, the earthquake, and an Krakatoa. So let's go a little bit deeper now. On May 1st, there was an executive order signed to secure the United States bulk power grid. Very important. Also, you had the White House went black, and you had Buckingham Palace. The windows, they said, were boarded up. And of course, you had the economists talked about the world being in a kind of blackout cover. And you have a movie called The Blackout Invasion Earth. And you have an individual called Candace Owens, some audio book or something like that called Blackout. And is this all to do with people putting on a mask, oxygen, all that kind of stuff? Or is there more to it?
There went the power. Woo! Damn!
So that has to do with Transformers. It's another one. So I may not be able to play the audio on this. It gets a bit crazy. So I'll see if it opens up. I may not be able to play the audio. Just the visual on this one.
This is crazy.
Yeah. So you can see some of it. We're getting to this part here. See here? Look at the sky. See that? See this color of the sky? We also have this one as well. Again, look at the color. We're looking at the plasma color. The way the color is changing, kind of plasma. Here's another one. Wow, that's a big explosion there.
We're gonna get electrocuted in here.
We're not touching no metal or anything, so we're good. I think. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Jesus.
I have the scissors to
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh!
Oh.
Taking pictures?
We're
Oh!
gonna get electrocuted in here.
We're not touching no metal or anything, so we're good. I think.
Oh!
And here we go. Here's the color. See the color we're talking about? The plasma light. This is all being a part now of the plasma light epoch. So So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna play some audio. Not everything in this audio is agreed upon with everything we're doing during the fourth wave. It's just information. It's just It's coming from what they say is an insider who has insider information about what they have planned for the rest of 2020 or something like that. And this is why the fourth wave is very important. The third wave stopped our bioweapon that was going to be released around the world. It fizzled out. So this is why the fourth wave is very, very powerful as well. And this is why we're also looking at the plasma light epoch, how the energy from these waves that come in, how they're very, very powerful, and they can interact with transformers. But there is another big part of this that I'm not going to fully go into all the details right now, but so I'm going to play this audio. Probably follow along with some of the with what they say. Again, not everything that's said in this is agreed upon. It's just information being shared to what's called like an insider. And again, we look at the date, July 6, 2020, which was the beginning window of the fourth wave. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about the fourth wave, why it's so important, why it's so powerful that's coming, and what it's actually really doing, you know. So let's have a listen.
Today I want to read out an email I got from Jeremy, who many of you have heard other videos with Jeremy, he is an ex-32nd degree Scottish Rite Freemason. I received some emails from him yesterday, and I have gotten his permission to read them out with slightly edited versions to remove some stuff that could identify him and things like that. So basically I've run it by him and I'm sharing what he's agreed I can share. And so yeah, I will just jump into it shortly, but I'll just preface it by saying this. Remember that his main source is someone he's known for many years. He's been a family friend and is a politician, high level has been, and is a 33rd degree Freemason. The other sources mentioned are also high level Freemasons. So knowing that, remember it is possible that Jeremy has been fed deliberate disinformation by them, because he himself has been out of the Masonic cult for several years now. He's not in the loop, so to speak. And though he's from a line of multi-generational Freemasons, he's not in the circle. However, many of his family still are. I feel that it's unlikely that this is disinformation being shared here, but it's not impossible that it is. The Illuminists now feel that their Luciferian plan is unstoppable. I think that may be one of the main reasons why they are no longer hiding it. However, as Christians, we know that nothing can occur unless it's in God's timing. If the Lord so wishes, he can thwart these plans. But bear in mind also that the Bible warns us of perilous times in the days leading up to the return of the Lord Jesus. If this is that prophesied time, and I think it is, then we will witness increasing wickedness and disasters before our Lord's return. But those of us who know the Lord should not fear this. Psalm 121:7 and 8 says, "The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even for evermore." Okay, so now I'll begin to read Jeremy's email. First off, my source rang me yesterday to meet him early. He met me for a second time in town. He's only ever met me once in town. Is this information true? I don't know, but I'll tell you what. In my spirit, I believe it is. I see it happening now. And then his source said it would be bad. I've tried so hard to prepare, says Jeremy. Maybe I could have done better, but I've done pretty good, I think. And this is things his source said. Things are about to really start happening here in the States. Canada, Europe and the West will follow, then the rest of the world. So back to Jeremy saying, I am only telling you this information as he told me not to share this, meaning not online. So Jeremy's not directly sharing it, I'm sharing it. You know, and when he was telling me this, it was really on my mind. He asked me how prepared I was. I told him I'm okay for a while, I believe. He said, "It's started already, you know." I said, "Yes." But he said, "You do not want to be in town before the elections. But you should not be in town after mid-July. But it could be sooner. It's out of our hands now." I asked why. He, meaning his 33rd degree source, said, "Before and after the elections is the time you'll really begin to see America fall, and with it the world, as Europe is barely hanging on financially. And when America goes, our military goes, and so goes the West." He said the world depends on the US more than I know. And the power will go out by the end of this year. He gave me that date. For a fact, he said it will happen. But he said it won't be cut off. The riots coming will tear grids down and destroy it, along with cities and large towns. Most will be starving, he said. He's already staying at his farm, and he said, "I would not go back to DC or Raleigh if my life depended on it." And remember, he's a politician. He said, "I've been kind to you telling you this info despite what you've done," meaning me leaving the Masonic cult and telling secrets, Jeremy says. And he said, "You're not safe in your home now," meaning US citizens, not just me. He said, "A military, not the military, but a military will enter homes when they are here." He said the militias will stand up against these rioters when they really are let loose to tear things up and go into homes. And this is what they want, he said. He said it outright. He has never once been as detailed to me as he was yesterday. He did tell me he may not be able to meet with me again, or not for a while. He said Americans will give up every right they have to protect themselves when we fall, and so will the world. He said, "You know America is gone." I told you. I said, "Yes." He said, "It's all a charade. They're all acting on the final stage before the big play, and it's all orchestrated." And he said, "You know Trump knows this." I said, "Of course I know." He said, "You know I grew up in this community also, and it does hurt me inside to know it will fall along with this nation and the West." But he said, "It has got to be done." So that makes it worth it. Jeremy says here, the garbage conditioning in him was coming out. He did say that those they feel they can re-educate, they will do, and those that have skills will be used. But he said, "You know, if you stand strong for your faith, you will die eventually, if you do not starve to death." And he also said, "You know, they know where you are." How, like a fool, you've announced it. I said, "Yes, I know. I am ready to die for Christ if I have to." He shook his head and said, "I wish I had that kind of faith in anything." I said, "You do. You're not doing anything to stop this satanic agenda." He said, or he replied, "You know he is not Satan," meaning, of course, the Masons don't believe that Lucifer and Satan are the same being. So I know always there is no use to mention anything about the gospel around him. I know better. He shook my hand and said, "I may not see you again, and you know I appreciate everything you've done, and you have a good family. I wish you'd stand with them." I said, "No, thank you. I wish you would stand with me." He said, "Be sure to buy everything you need while you can still get it. It will only be a few more months that you will be able to do that and have power." For those of you that know Jeremy, of course, you can probably imagine his voice rather than mine. His Wolfman Jack type voice rather than my Kiwi accent. But anyway, I'm doing my best to read it how I see it. "Now you tell me that don't affect you," says Jeremy. "I've been sick on my stomach all day and last night. Tony, I believe we're here at these end things will come, and things could be okay for a while for us to communicate, but I don't know how long. Bad things are on the way. We know. But now I have no doubt. I know I'll be okay for a while and am prepared to die if I have to for Christ. But I can see the end starting for this unveiling of the Antichrist to come and fix everything. You know they have to have chaos first, and thus the complete old system has to fall before the new one can come fully out. And its fall has already started. I feel I have to say this. In the event, though, right now, unlikely, but in the event we cannot communicate again online, you know it has been a pleasure knowing you, and we will meet again, and you and Holly are always in my prayers. I've tried hard, like you, to warn others this was coming before it ever did, and I believe many have heard that call and got their life right. I hope so. But again, if something does happen sooner and this nation or world is disrupted completely, you'll always be in my thoughts, my friend. I feel honoured that I can call you my friend and have met you, and I feel honoured to call you my friend too, Jeremy, if you are listening to this. Such a good man in the Lord. I think we'll be okay for a few more weeks or a month or so maybe, but again, in the event we aren't, I needed to say that. And then Jeremy goes on to say, he, meaning that 33rd degree Freemason source. He's not the only one who told me this, by the way. I did ring and run this info by the other source and my cousin. The other source agreed fully, and my cousin said, do you really need to be told that? Look around you. If you can't see things falling, then something's wrong. And then Jeremy says, I feel it in the air, I feel it in my heart. Dark clouds are over us, demonic clouds, and they are preparing for their time here, their short time. But what a time they intend on making of it, every second. My cousin also confirmed September and November. Coin change here is short in stores, even where I live. They are out of change and saying plastic only, or we keep the change. And all over the news today is stores and businesses cannot get currency, let alone change. It started already. Food will be next, my cousin said. He said the same thing, that the grid will go down. And then he said to me a warning. He said, you know they know where you are. They'll come for you. I said, well, I'll protect myself all I can, but I'm not afraid to die if I have to. They could do anything, but so can Christ. I'm giving it all to him. My life is in his hands as yours.
So one of the things
we will
related to QAnon,
do what he means for us to do. One more thing. I did ask my cousin about the money, and he said inflation may occur, but he also said you cannot inflate what has no value at all. Cash will only be good to start a fire with. And you do remember I told you that they took all their cash out of the bank, everyone I knew or asked after I discovered my family had. Just wanted to add that. And that's then signed off by Jeremy. So folks, I just want to now finish off by saying I really believe you should prepare as best as you can to survive for a period of time. You know, whatever that means for you. Food, maybe gold and silver, your shelter sorted, all the things we've covered in many other Minute to Midnight episodes, so I won't go into them more here. Ultimately, we're going to have to trust God for survival in the days ahead, but God is well able to protect us if he so chooses, but I think it's very pertinent to be as well prepared as you can, because God can actually use your preparations. But eventually, who knows, you know, some will die, and God will protect some. And I can't say who will be who, but, you know, in the end, we just have to trust him because he knows best. I'd certainly appreciate your prayers, folks, for a Minute to Midnight. And also, I'm sure Jeremy would appreciate your prayers too, because he puts his neck on the line every time, really, that he shares information like this. But if we look just at Mark for a minute, Mark chapter 8, he says in verse 35, for whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. 36. For what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? And now 38. For whoever is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him the Son of Man also will be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. So those that are denying Christ have the worst future, something worse than death on this earth. And those of us that choose to follow Christ, so what? If we end up dying, to live is okay, to die is gain. So folks, don't be afraid, take courage, do what you can to prepare, know that God has our back, and I believe many will actually survive what's coming and God will protect. Some of us, we will end up dying, but the end for those that die in Christ is going to be hope and glory. So I'd say don't be afraid, just do what you can and trust the Lord. That's about all I want to say in this short update. Remember to visit aminutemidnight.com where all of our shows and so on are put, and give this a thumbs up if you're watching it on YouTube. I'd appreciate that, and even share it. Make sure you subscribe to our channels and our website. And of course, if you're able to donate to A Minute to Midnight, that's always much appreciated as well. Also, I chose to use a different piece of music today in this show. You can download this piece that I wrote and recorded a few years ago on our website, aminutemidnight.com, under free music if you want to as well. So that's it. Catch you hopefully in a couple of days' time with another episode of the A Minute to Midnight show, God willing.
Okay, so that was some audio there from a show. Again, an insider releasing information saying that there's going to be a big blackout or some type of blackout on what they're running with their end game and all that kind of stuff, So this is something called the National Economic Security and Reformation Act. Goes back to 2000. It's something that seems to be becoming popping up on different things. So we'll see how that plays out. And there's a lot of people connecting this Nasara, to Q. So let's take a quick listen here to a couple of things.
So one of the things related to QAnon is that after or during the storm, there's going to be some type of financial reset. Now, the only thing that I'm aware of that Q referenced is that gold will end the Federal Reserve. And Q also talked about the Rothschild family being one of the three sides of the pyramid of the global power structure. And he listed all the central banks that the Rothschild family owns globally. I don't really have any other information related to this except for to say that a big discussion in the QAnon movement has to do with other possible things like debt jubilees or Jacera and Nasera law, which would wipe out public debt and perhaps having a minimum basic income or something like that. So it's interesting as coronavirus plays out and there are considerations for getting rid of debt and implementing a basic income to people. And also, as the stock market crashes, we also see gold for some reason also falling, which normally does not occur at the same time. So something to keep in mind that the Treasury of the United States government may institute a gold-backed currency. It's a possibility. It's complete conjecture, but it's something to consider. How is the financial system going to change? Because I've seen lately Deutsche Bank deregistered as a corporation in Germany, and we're seeing the stock market get completely wiped out. So there's definitely a restructuring of power in the financial realm.
Yeah, so again, that's just some information. There seems to be a lot of different groups and whatever starting to interconnect with different things like blackout, darkness, Nasara, QAnon, all this kind of stuff, all trying to figure out what's going on. So this is why the fourth wave is very, very powerful and very important. So this has been the fourth wave of energy incoming on July 10th, 2020. And energy intensity went up 9 days. It'll last from July 6th to July 14th. This is day 3, Wednesday, July 8th, 2020. And again, that was an insider talking about blackout. There does seem to be a massive blackout theme going through 2018, 2019, 2020. And as I said, this is where the third wave came when it did in November 15, 2019. This is where the fourth wave is coming now on July 10, 2020. Humanity doesn't really know what's truly up against, but the creator of all does. So